الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واعلموا أن فيكم رسول الله لو يطيعكم في كثير من الأمر لعنتم ولكن الله حبب إليكم الإيمان وزينه في قلوبكم وكره إليكم الكفر والفسوق والعصيان أولئك هم الراشدون فضلا من الله ونعمة والله عليم حكيم صدق الله العظيم. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, I've just recited a few ayat from Surah Al-Hujurat in continuation of our discussion related to Akhlaq, morals and character. These are a few rules related to Mashwara, also known as Shura, in which a decision must be made, so a council is brought. A person may seek counsel from particular experts related to any situation. Yesterday we began the discussion of Shura in relation to the situation that we are in the year 2020, May 11th. The month of May, the year 2020, facing a pandemic, an epidemic that has gone global, COVID-19. In this connection, there was many decisions that were needed to be made. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us believers the system of shura, of seeking counsel. There are particular rules mentioned in the ayat of the Quran in a few places in the Quran, and also from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we learn the importance of shura and how one may be able to reach a conclusion related to particular matters. We will go over a few of the rules of shura, at least the major rules. As far as the intricate details of shura, that may vary from situation to situation. just in general, what are the major rules related to shura? And then we will look at some examples from the Seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and also a few examples from the Hayatus Sahaba, or the lives of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhu. How important shura is, and how the decisions made through shura can bring about great benefit, immense benefit for the believers and for the society in general. A few rules related to shura is that I will give examples from the present situation of this pandemic. Throughout the world, in various countries, this virus affected the country in different ways. Every country has its own system of shura amongst the ulama and the scholars. So various countries, they went about making decisions, and the scholars and the ulama made decisions in relation to the masajid and in relation to the community and the Muslim ummah, or at least the Muslim community in their region or in their country. We are here in Greater Atlanta, part of the state of Georgia in the United States of America. Every state may have different rules, different systems, as the virus, this pandemic, will affect every state very differently. Coming to the area of Alpharetta or Greater Atlanta in general, there were decisions that needed to be made for the stopping of this virus, COVID-19, or the coronavirus SARS-2. So the Masjid administrations, under the advice of the ulama and scholars, decided to have a shura. We were fortunate enough that some of our imams connected all of the masajid of Greater Atlanta, some more than 80 masajid, connected all the masajid and decided to have a shura, a consultation. So we also brought in certain experts, as this is a virus related to the medical field. It was necessary to bring in health experts. That is the first rule of any shura. Bring experts in the particular field that you're dealing with. It's very, very important. Otherwise, you'll make a decision without understanding the reality of what the decision needs to be made on. There was public information available. There was a lot of things within the medical community that was very difficult to explain to the public, because a lot of medical terms and a lot of internal understanding. So we just decided to go straight to the medical community. Some of the masajid had direct links to very top doctors within the CDC and other health professionals and other doctors within the field, in various fields of medicine. Through consultation with them, and this is months back, first thing was needed was to assess the situation so that we can make a proper decision. This is the second important rule of shura. The second important rule of any shura is to assess the situation first. You do not jump to conclusions unless you have made a proper assessment to the best of your ability using those experts. You start with assessment. You take feedback based on the region, on the area. Many of these things happened back in the month of March. And sometimes the shura, we would only take a break. I remember these scholars were having shura so much lasted sometimes for hours. They were only taking break for meals and trying to decide what to do next. So multiple experts within the fields they were contacting, and then once the assessment was made that there is the danger, a very present danger. So once the assessment was taken, the second rule was fulfilled. Now there came the third rule. When you have a shura council, you must then take a decision to decide on one person who will make the final decision. They're also called a faisal, a person who will make the final decision. They're also known as the Amir of the Shura, the head of the council. But they are the ones that will conduct the Shura after these facts are taken. One, who are the experts that need to be brought in? Second, assessment is now made. You take an Amir, now you fix an Amir, and you bring all of that assessment together. Now comes the third. I don't know if you want to call it the third or the fourth. If you consider the Amir is also a very important factor, because without an Amir, without a person to finally decide, generally the Amir will be the elder in that group, or the most wisest in the group, the most knowledgeable in the group. It can have different factors, and you can look into the rules of an Amir. You can open the books of fiqh and see the rules of the Amir. Just in general, should be the most knowledgeable, or the elder, most knowledgeable in different terms, in different sense. In the field of Islam, in the rules of Sharia, want somebody who's very, very knowledgeable. And then also in the rules of understanding the society, an elder, a wise person. So they have to have multiple qualities. They also have to be looked at as a leader in the community. It cannot be that you find the most knowledgeable person, nobody knows who he is. He's been isolated from the community. He's focused on his own ulum. He's focused on his own studies, doesn't really care much for the society. Should not be someone like that. It has to be someone who in the community is considered as a leader. Alhamdulillah, in our community, we have quite a few. Many of the scholars very well versed, and also other experts and elders of various masajid. So that was decided. We let them decide one person to be the leader, and they decided amongst themselves. So the assessment was made, the Amir was fixed. Now we needed these steps to be taken, what should be done. So the experts have to come in that, okay, this is the assessment of the dangers of what is going on. Here are the steps to deal with what to do. Here are considered solutions, considerations. There are also recommendations. So these recommendations are then put together that, look, based on this situation, here are some of the recommendations that we have. Those recommendations are put in front of the shura, and those recommendations are explained and put in front of the shura from the experts. So from the medical field, it was very clear. It was almost kind of a unanimous thing in the United States that things are going to shut down very soon. Again, this I'm going back 2 months, back to the month of March, in the very early days of March. This was before the state of Georgia considered shutting down or going into lockdown and going into stay-at-home orders. Before that, we were assessing from the experts that, okay, what are some of the recommendations that need to be taken? So they were considering that there was a time when we were allowed to have a gathering of 250. It was brought down to 50. Then the recommendation came that, listen, it doesn't matter the number of people in the gathering. It can be dangerous either way. It doesn't matter how many people gather. They were keeping it at 10. From 50, they brought it down to 10. But even then, they were saying that we would recommend for you to take particular steps. And the steps that they were recommending was, and I'm explaining all of this so you understand the rules of shura. They were saying that the steps needed to be taken is that you should take someone within a particular age group. They should be allowed in a gathering. Anything outside of that should not be allowed in the gathering. When we looked at that age group, it was between 13 and 65. Also, they were saying that this is not 100% guarantee. With that age group, you can have 10 people or 50 people gathering. That was put in front of the shura. Even the people that come to the gathering have to follow very, very strict protocol of washing their hands, using sanitizers, cleaning, and there's a long list of, you can read up on the list of recommended things. Everyone knows about it now. You can read up on the things that were recommended. And that was placed in front of the shura and the council of ulama. Now there came the fourth or the fifth point in the shura, is to take the recommendation and see how much of it is allowed by Islamic rules. Anyone can recommend anything, but can that recommendation, does it go in line with the rules of Islam or not? That has to be understood. So we took the recommendations, we looked at them, and first and foremost, it became very clear that once you have a masjid open, you cannot stop anyone from the masjid. So now there came the shura council. So the ulama, what you do in a shura, this is the next step, is you have all of those details in front of you. The assessment is, the experts have spoken. The assessment was, the experts meaning the doctors and those in the medical field spoke. Assessment was made of the situation we were in, how many deaths there were, what are the cases rising, do we have other numbers to gather in, so things happen from China, how dangerous this virus can be, and so on and so forth. There were many, many countries that were going through it, so it was easy to have a quick assessment. Then we had the Amir, everything was fixed, the shura sat down. Everyone brought in their own bit of information, whatever they could gather. And now came the time with the recommendations. Once those recommendations started, now it came the time to try and understand what is possible according to the rules of Islam and what is not possible according to the rules of Islam. So what the Amir will do of the council is that then he will go from person to person, or those that are sitting in that council, and he will ask them, what is your position related to this? So the elder ulama, scholars, the mufti that were sitting in that council, they started, and everyone was saying, okay, this recommendation can be followed in the rules of Islam, this recommendation can be followed. Other muftis would pitch in and say, no, according to some books of fiqh, this recommendation cannot be followed, and so on and so forth. So discussion starts. In a discussion in the shura, every person in the first point, so this is the next point of the shura. I don't even know what number of points we're on now, but the Amir will give every single person a chance to speak, or at least will give the most prominent people in that shura at that moment to speak. Every person that is given a chance to speak will be given a time to speak. Not too long, but should be given a particular amount of time to express their opinion or to bring something new. If the person has nothing new to offer, so they should remain silent. But if someone has an opinion that, okay, look, according to the rules of Islam, this is not allowed, or this cannot be done, they should bring that forward. So that discussion starts, or that discussion started related to the situation we were in. Can we allow the masajids to be open for a particular group? And even then, what is the recommendation? And it started, every one of the ulama and the scholars, the elder scholars, they first gave their opinions. The majority opinion, almost all of them, were saying that if you leave the masjid open, then Islam does not give us the right to stop someone. And some of the ulama gave the opinion that no, there was a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that yes, There was an incident of somebody who had eaten garlic. In another position, somebody had eaten onions. And from the smell of that, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam requested the person to leave because the smell of that was disturbing the salah of the musallin. And again, the other muhaddithin, alhamdulillah, in the council we had a few that were muhaddithin also, they gave their opinion. So throughout the world, these kind of shura and councils happen. But that hadith was also explained that no, this was related to affecting the salah of someone, particularly the concentration of the salah. It was not necessarily that somebody who is sick, who may not have any kind of symptoms that can disturb the salah, that can apply. Different discussions started. All of the ulama were giving their own opinions. So this is how the stages of shura will work. Once the ulama and the scholars who are experts in the field of jurisprudence and who understood the situation, once they spoke, now comes to the general council. This seems like a detailed discussion. We will stop here and we will inshallah continue from tomorrow. And we will try to wrap up. I'll try my best to wrap it up as best as I can so that we all understand at least the basic rulings of how a shura should work. What are the akhlaq and the rules related and the moral characters related to having a shura council. And inshallah we'll continue from there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us understanding and give us the tawfiq to practice his deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. Inshallah we will do our portion of hadith and then inshallah tilawah. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد عن واثلة بن أسقع رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من طلب علما فأدركه كتب الله له كفلين من الأجر ومن طلب علما فلم يدركه كتب الله له كفلا من الأجر. رواه الطبراني في الكبير ورجاله موثقون. Wathila ibn Asqa' radiyallahu anhu, he narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, and we should say sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Man talaba ilman, whosoever seeks knowledge or seeks a particular knowledge, فَأَدْرَكَهُ, then they comprehend it. They seek out knowledge and they study and they really learn it. كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ كِفْلَيْنِ مِنَ الْأَجْرِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will write for such a person double reward, or a twofold reward. Such a person will get double reward. One for seeking the knowledge and the other for comprehending it, understanding it, really learning it. وَمَنْ طَلَبَ عِلْمًا, whosoever seeks knowledge, فَلَمْ يُدْرِكْهُ, he's not able to attain it, he's not able to comprehend it, كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ كِفْلًا مِنَ الْأَجْرِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will write for this person one reward. أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. This hadith is in Tabrani وَرِجَالُهُ مَوْثِقُونَ. So, few points about this hadith. Here, ilman, again, pointing to the knowledge of deen, beneficial knowledge. Okay, there are many types of knowledge out there, but they're not beneficial, or some of them may even be haram. But those ulum, those knowledges, those sciences with which there is benefit towards the person who's learning it and benefit for the people. This person may learn it and teach it to others or use that knowledge to benefit people. So for such a person, there's twofold reward. One, seeking the knowledge, learning it, benefiting, seeking the knowledge and really studying. It takes a lot of effort to learn. There are many different types of knowledges in the world. Some of them may not even be halal. For example, you may have a person who may seek out the knowledge about magic and sihr. So this is haram. So for such a person, even they make the effort and they learn the magic, they will not get any reward. Rather, they may be punished for studying such a knowledge. There may be other types of knowledges out there and the person's intention is to harm people with it. So that can become a means of the person's destruction. But if a person learns a knowledge, a skill, and that can become a means of benefit, then this person will get the reward for learning it, especially the believers, they'll get the reward for learning it, and they'll get the reward if they understood it. One side, obviously, the ulum of deen. You have tafsir and hadith and fiqh and all of the other funun, the sciences related to that. For example, the Arabic language, the sarf and nahu, the grammar. And you have very detailed ulum such as falsafa and kalam and other funun and other different types of sciences that can really help you understand the Quran and Sunnah. You may have other sciences with which it can expand a person's understanding. Mathematics and science and all of the other elements related to even the other funun and knowledge that are very beneficial, geography and history, all of these things, they are beneficial knowledge. Learning them, making the effort to learn it, person will be rewarded. Once they understand it and comprehend it, person will also be rewarded. At least the believers. On the other side, the person makes an effort to learn something. They spend the time, they take every effort to try and learn. But they are not able to comprehend it. It is difficult. And it happens. Not everyone has subjects which they're able to comprehend. Some people have difficulty with mathematics. Some people have difficulty with language arts, or understanding just the language. Other people have difficulty with the geography, with history, with dates, and so on and so forth. So everyone has their own capacity of certain sciences they're able to understand easily. And for other people, they have other abilities. They're able to understand other sciences easily. So for those sciences that a person is able to comprehend and they take the effort to learn it, so they'll get twofold reward when they learn it and they understand it. But for those sciences that they're taking the effort to learn, but they're not able to comprehend it, still they get the reward of spending the time to learn. Ilm and knowledge is something that is praiseworthy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the ulum of deen also. Even in the Quran, it is called al-hikmah, and wisdom. And this al-hikmah is generally a term used for the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Baqarah, يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives the gift of wisdom. Al-hikmah means wisdom to whomsoever He wants. وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. Whosoever has been given wisdom has been given abundance of good. وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. And this is nothing but a reminder for those people of intellect, people who have intellect. And wisdom, the Mufassirin have mentioned that this is the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in particular the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it is full of wisdom. Tonight we'll be reciting Surah Ar-Rum. We'll be reciting the portion of Surah Al-Ankabut that is left. We will inshallah recite Surah Ar-Rum. We'll recite Surah Luqman, Surah As-Sajdah, and Surah Al-Ahzab, but particularly talking about Surah Luqman. That in Surah Luqman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the example of Luqman alayhi salam, which the name of the surah is also taken. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has named the surah after this wise sage, after this sage that came in human history, one of the wisest human beings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ. And definitely we gave Luqman alayhi salam al-hikmah, wisdom. And he may be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So wisdom is something that is praiseworthy. And remember, one is knowledge, one is wisdom. Sometimes they're interchangeable, but there is a difference. Knowledge is having the information of how to do something. Wisdom is understanding the execution. You can learn all the theories you want, and you can have all the information, all of the facts you want about swimming. But if you have not gotten inside the water and you didn't understand the basics of learning just how to float, all that information will not be of benefit to you if you ever end up in the water. You may have another person who knows how to swim. He doesn't have all this information about the different types of swimming, but he knows how to swim. But these are the difference between the person who has the knowledge of all the information but has never been in the water. And the wisdom, the person who's been in the water, they have the experience. They understand what swimming is. Same applies with driving. You can sit there and take the driving test, or you can put a person behind the wheel and make them drive. It's two very different things. The theory is one thing, practicality is very different. And wisdom is something that is praiseworthy, because without wisdom, knowledge will destroy a person. Or knowledge may not have the benefit required for a person to benefit from it. Our elder scholars have told us that for 1 cup of knowledge, you need a pond full of wisdom to benefit and understand how to benefit from it. It's kind of a formula. It's not a literal formula. Don't sit there and take a cup of knowledge. First of all, how are you going to get a cup of knowledge? Knowledge isn't something you can drink in a cup. If you do have such knowledge, please tell us, because we also want that quick pill to learning. But you can't put knowledge in a cup. It's just an example that whatever knowledge you have, you must have multiples of that in wisdom to understand and benefit from that knowledge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give all of us tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. Inshallah, we'll start our tilawat in a few minutes. Subhanallah.
We have a question.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please, can you help understand the hikmah and the details of sujood tilawa?
The hikmah of sajda tilawa?
Yeah.
The details
Why?
or the hikmah? Okay, so there are
maybe a little short form. Maybe we can discuss later on, maybe tomorrow.
I'll just give it in a very, very short answer. That there are ayat in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed as part of the Quran, that in those ayat there is either a direct hukum or command to do sajda to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or there is a mention of the believers in particular situation, they do sajda to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or there was a situation of a Nabi, a prophet, who in a certain situation did sajda to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, in 14 places in the Quran, has placed these situations and made that when the believers read those particular parts, either the command to do sajda, or that believers in a condition will do sajda, or that a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a Rasul, a messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did sajda. So the believers should go in fulfilling that command, or fulfilling that quality of the believers, or following that Nabi's sajda to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we are also commanded to do sajda to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The hukum behind it is that if you read the ayah of sajda, or you hear the ayah of sajda, you either recite it yourself, or you hear someone else recite it. So the sajda becomes wajib to perform that sajda. In some madhahib it is considered a sunnah mu'akkada, but it is generally a wajib that you must do that sajda. And if you do not do that sajda, or you do not consider it important to do that sajda, so it's something that you must make up in your life if you ever missed it in your life. Try and remember if you ever missed it in your life, and make sure that you do the sajda. It's very simple. From any position, you just say Allahu Akbar, go into sajda. You say whatever you normally say in sajda, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Or there's a particular dua for the sajdatul tilawa. There's a particular dua, sajda wajhadi alladhi khalaqahu wa sawwarahu wa shaqqa sam'ahu wa basarahu bihawlihi wa quwwatihi. If you know that this dua, then you can make this dua, or you can just say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la and then get up, say Allahu Akbar, and get up from the sajda. It's that simple. If you're praying, if you read the ayah of sajda in the salah, then you should in the salah go to sajda, then get back up and continue whatever you want to read, continue reading. Or if you're not in salah, if you end up reading the ayah, you have to have the rules of salah apply to this sajda. Even if you recite the ayah, you do not have wudu, then you must go make wudu and do, if you want to do sajda, make the wudu and do sajda. So the rules of salah apply to this sajda. You must be in a state of purity, you must have your wudu, you must have clean clothes, you must be facing the qibla, etc. Okay? The rules of salah apply to this sajda. I hope that I tried my best to explain it. I don't know if there's something I've missed, or if there's any question related that I may have missed about this sajda, please let us know, and we'll address that particular question in this connection. I tried my best to answer whatever portion of it I could.
Yep.
Inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.